guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Long Island Antique Power Association 32nd Annual Summer Show. Figured, as per usual, I'd give a little video doing some walk around here, some of the highlights, and whatever else that's interesting I see. So, unfortunately, this year I was not able to go as crazy with the engines as I wanted to. I was going to bring, like, literally everything, but got a job up in Massachusetts, so I couldn't bring that much. I brought a couple and left them in the barn and then came down for the weekend. I got to head back up tonight, but this is what we got so far. A couple staples, a couple new ones. My 1923 Witty 3-horse Model B throttle governed. One of my favorite engines, honestly. I really love throttle governed engines, especially when they sit there and just hit every single time like this. It's a great sound. There's individual videos on almost every single engine in my display, so I'll try and link them down in the description for you guys. But yeah, did a lot of work to this thing, getting it running. Built the cart myself from scratch. Actually used the antique sawmill over there to cut the wood down. But yeah, got that. This here is my 19-teens or 20s Delco X-ray plant. Does run, just did a video on this recently actually. Unfortunately, I went to plug it in yesterday and the light bulbs came on for a little while and then they went out. And it's not making electricity right now, so I'm going to have to diagnose that at some point, but it does still run. I built a small knob and tube electrical display, and at some point I want to build a much larger one, but it's all period correct stuff. Even the wire's original. I ripped it out of an old house. The wire's 120 years old. And then for the first time ever, I've got my Briggs A through ZZ lineup. Got the 1942 military crank start Model A. Did a video series on reviving that. This is not the usual Model B I have. I sold the one that you guys may have seen in the past because I got this one from my buddy Jake, also known as 5 Tractor Guy. The 1935 Model B crank start off a moto mower. And I like it because it's got the more rare and interesting brands, Kingston carb. At 1935 is only the second year of production for these, so it's a real early one. It's kind of neat. Over here we got the Briggs & Stratton Model K R4, also 1935. You guys have seen the videos on this one too. Probably one of my favorite Briggs engines to date. Absolutely love this thing. In case you haven't seen, I found this sitting sideways in a shed that was collapsing at a estate sale clean out. The guy was a collector. Actually, same place I got the Witty and a couple other places, but this is in one of his sheds outside, and I think if I sneezed hard enough, the shed would have fallen over. Sitting on side in the dirt. I'd always wanted a Model K because they're pretty rare. Found this, and it needed absolutely everything, but got it back together. It runs great. I came off a Lock reel mower, by the way. You can tell because of the special base and the original swivel wheel and everything that's there. We don't have a Model Z. I purposely skipped that because it's basically the same thing as the ZZ. Really not much of a difference, and it's not worth the space to me. But this here is my 1945 Briggs Model ZZ, also military engine. Recently did a video on getting that running. Sitting there thumping away. Back over here we have my 1928 Briggs Model F8. See, that's just thumping along. I love the overhead valves on these, and I also love the sound of them. They got such a nice soothing thump. And this here is a video or an engine that I haven't done a video on yet, but it's coming soon. My 1904 to 08 Gould Shapley Muir Ideal hit and miss engine. Actually, come to think of it, that video might be out before this one, so maybe there is a video, but either way, that's been running literally all weekend non-stop. It's been great. I thought I was going to be fighting it all weekend because I had some issues with the igniter right before the show, but it's been running happily literally all day yesterday and all day today. Very happy with it. Just sits here and puts away. Running at a real nice speed too. I I love the sound of the pipe on this. It's not loud, but it's got a nice deep thump. Over here we got my roller, which I still yet to do a video on. I got to do that one of these days. I think it's a 40s or 50s tennis court or asphalt roller. Got it from a friend. Swapped the engine with a larger Briggs & Stratton from a Lock reel mower, and it just fits better, it looks better, it runs better. Had some sort of Kohler on it originally. But that's that. That's the original tag from the dealer, I believe. Hopefully you guys can read that. But yeah, my friend's family lived in a large estate at one point, and they used this to roll the tennis courts that were there. Obviously we got the Dodge there, my tent because I camped out, and can wander around here. We'll get the Atlas running later. Still kind of early in the morning. This is one you guys haven't seen here yet. It's a 6-horse Novo upright hit and miss engine on a winch, which we had running before, but it quit. But this is the first time running in like 20 years, so can't blame it too much. We went to start it, flooded it out, so it's sitting, but I'll get some footage of that running again later. Got our big 8-horse Bulldog here. It's a pretty neat piece. Move inside the barn here. I've done dedicated tours of this place in one of the previous videos, so I probably won't go through it again, but over here we got the 15-horse Evans running. The oil field engine. Set it up to run on propane there. Actually still sitting on its original skids from about 1910 or so, if I remember correctly. Shooting smoke rings too. It's kind of fun. Some of the other engines over here. This is Dieter's 10-horse Fairbanks Z. I actually revived this for the first time again in probably 20 years or so the other night. The problem was it was always missing the magneto, so I whipped together a quick ignition trip for it with a hacksaw blade and 2 blocks of wood there. Had it running, but apparently I need to flip the right angle bracket around because this was too tight and it snapped the hacksaw blade off. So unfortunately didn't get to run it for the show, but maybe the fall. It's a neat piece though, especially with the water pump and the cooling system he's got underneath it there. 75-horse Nash twin cylinder. And since last year, I don't know how far this has come, but we've got our single cylinder Fairbanks 32. Twin cylinders well on its way. We got the foundation poured. We just replaced some oil lines, and we're getting pretty close on dropping that down and grouting it and everything, slowly putting it back together. And the 3-cylinder is almost entirely back together. Got to do some work on the injectors, and we got to plumb the exhaust, and I think that's about it, honestly. Flush out the main bearings. So hopefully come fall show, this will actually be running. Over here we got the 66-horse Ruston. Just ran a backup generator, which is actually right over there, for a local hospital back in the day. It's a pretty impressive piece. Flywheel alone on this weighs 8 tons. And the loudest part about it that you hear, that like weird whooshing sound, is actually all the air rushing into the intake. That's how big this thing is. It's a 12.5-inch bore and 20-inch strokes, so roughly 864 cubic inch displacement. It's pretty wild. Single cam. Got the drip boiler over here, which you can see is dripping away. It's neat too, because one of those lines comes over to this little oil box, fills that with oil, and then there's these wicks here that, through capillary action, suck the oil down. You can see here, maybe, if it wants to drip anytime soon. Actually, here's a better one. You can see how much oil is sitting in that. But yeah, then all those oil lines just kind of drip down into those little cups. Governor sits under there. We got all the water, plumbing, and fuel in. So fuel tank's up there. A few filters on the wall there, and that runs both this and the auto. And there's a big giant water tank out back with some pumps running to circulate. You can actually see over here. And we got our 50 horse auto going. Running nice and smooth. We had some issues with this in the past. It ate its main bearing at one point, so we had to deal with that. And then we had oiler issues, so we made the oiler bracket there to drip into that more. And we had some governor issues at one point, but I think, knock on wood, we got it just about figured out now. Also now plumbed into air start and fuel and everything. It's 1923. Same model and design as the one out of Cool Spring, just a couple of years earlier. Got our 110 horse Ingersoll Rand. Excuse me. Single cylinder diesel. Hopefully that's pretty soon on the list to get that going. Over here is our 15 horse Fairbanks. I think it's a Model N. Throttle govern. They originally ran a sawmill here on Long Island somewhere. Just chugging right along. Such a smooth running engine, you can't even really hear it run. Tom and Dieter back in the day modified it to run off propane, so that's what we're setting up on here. It was a little easier for the shows than liquid gas. 10 horse auto was running yesterday, and then it gave us some igniter issues, and I haven't gotten around to screwing around with it, see if I can get it running again. So maybe I'll do that here in a little bit. Over here we have the LG Lorenz. So these guys who haven't seen this in the past, it's a very rare Czechoslovakian made engine. There's only a handful of them in the entire US as far as I'm aware. Dieter imported 3 of these. We got this one, we got the red one over there, and then one other one belongs to another club member here. Pretty neat. We've had all 3 running in a line before, which is not something I don't think you'd see anywhere else. I love these. They're very nice running engines. And they're very interesting in the way they are designed and some of the engineering that went in behind it. Hit and miss govern, but they latch out the intake and not the exhaust. And the intake system on its own is wild because there's 3 intake valves. This, I guess, mixer of sorts has 2 in it, one to drop the fuel and one to let the air in, and this is the main one that sucks everything in. Well, the Myrick Eclipse was running before, but it seems to have gone out, so I just relit the hot tube. We'll come back to that. Just shut the gas off, though. The 5 horse New Holland. It's chugging right along. All right, back outside here. The 9 horse Alamo walking beam. Hit and miss engine running. We got one of the 2 twins here. I think this one was Dieter's. This one seems to fire off and run great. That one was giving us a lot of trouble for some reason, so we got tired of cranking on it. But These are Deutz Autos from very early 1900s. Both were imported from Argentina. And the crazy thing is that I forget exactly what it is. It was either a couple serial numbers off or a couple production days off, but I think it's serial numbers. They're very similar. Or same production day, it was something like that. But either way, both of these could have been in the same factory at the same time. It's kind of wild to think about. Very smooth running engines. Got a shot of the other side for you. Single flywheel too, which is neat, but it makes it a pain in the ass to start when they don't want to start easy. Over here we got a recent acquisition for the club, I guess. Oh, not really. It's one of Tom's engines that Tommy brought over. Put gas in it, the thing hasn't run in probably 20-something years. Put gas in it and it fired right off. It's a 5-horse economy. He's pretty happy. Friction that a little bit. There we go. A couple other pieces over here. I'll walk over here, get you guys a shot of the Autos exhaust. PVC pipe is temporary, obviously, but we had to get it up above the building there. Gives it a nice tone, too. It's about as loud as it gets. Shoots some pretty good smoke rings, too. As you can see, that one's still going over there. And yeah. Can walk around back here and show you the Ruston one too while we're at it. And we can go take a look at some of the other engines on display. Auto straight pipe. This one's got a muffler pit in the ground, but still, both extremely quiet engines. Pretty wild. That there's our water tank. You can hear the water circulating. Anyways, let's go see what else is on display over here. This year's display, or a featured display, was garden tractors. So there's not as many engines, but still got a few. Got a couple of Bruce Young's Internationals here. Got a 1-horse 1915 Tom Thumb, 1-horse 1917 Mogul, and 1915 1-horse Famous. Looks really nice and restored. Here we got a couple of Stewart's mowers. One of those like Flymo gas, like hovering lawnmowers. Got an old block. Got a very similar engine to what's on my roller now. A couple Olson and Rice powered drills and I guess hedge clipper. Real old vintage backpack leaf blower. It's a moto mower. The Briggs FI, I believe, or FG. I always confuse those two. No, it's an FI. It's a pretty sweet piece. Oh, and the steam tractor, of course. Can't forget that. And we got another little reel mower here. Eversharp. Little Briggs 5S on it. Little John Deere there. A couple Maytags. And this is a 6-horse Fairbanks Morse. A nice Fairbanks Morse water pump on it. Moving some serious water. Thing runs sweet. That's a nice display. I like that. Another one I like. Big throttle govern, hits every time like it should. I've always found the Fairbanks with a igniter run much better than the ones with the mags, but this one seems to run really good. But he's done a lot of work on making it run just right like this. Tinkered with a whole bunch of stuff between timing and the mag and the spark plugs and the clapper plate and the mixer there, and it pays off. Pretty sweet display. I need to get something like that someday. You got a Power Products fan, which is pretty neat. Little Fairbanks Z. This is a horse and a half, throttle governed. And this is a monitor upright pump jack engine. It's pretty neat. So you even got the pump jack and part of the pump here too. Pretty neat. See, there's the ignition trip there and latch up lock and everything. And this is neat. This is a real old Champion spark plug. And that there, I guess this probably would have been originally for a car, but that there is a primer cup. You fill that with gas open and shoots gas directly into the cylinder, so in cold weather they would start easier. Pretty neat to see that on a running engine, because you don't see them that often. Some big International tractors. Got some trucks over there we'll have to take a look at in a second too. Some more garden tractors. And looks like Gene's running the big Bucieri Erie. Oh, zoomed in way too much. There we go. Have to wander over there in a minute too. We're here with the Bucieri Erie. Looks like Gene's teaching somebody else how to drive it. Gene's got his Caterpillar running. Let's see what we can learn about it.
Only 89 left.
Yeah, 89 left. Yeah.
The Caterpillar tested.
I was just going to say, tell us a little bit about it.
It's a one-cylinder Caterpillar test engine. It's about 1938. It was in a laboratory where they tested.
That is a hit and miss or just
No, it's diesel, full diesel. Yeah, three-chambered diesel. It's one cylinder of a 13,000 cat, like your air compressor over there.
Oh, okay, cool.
Or one cylinder of this, big D8 342 engine. The guy in Michigan had it. I have a one cylinder Cummins and he thought I needed a partner for it.
Wow.
Now you got a one-cylinder Cummins, you got a one-cylinder Cat, you got a one-cylinder Detroit.
I got them all. I have a one cylinder Shepherd too.
Yeah?
Yeah. Which is
That's pretty
sweet.
cool.
Yeah. I'll start that cat for you.
Go for it. What year is this one?
This is a 1975.
Okay.
That one's 1938. That old cat, they all share the same stroke.
Oh, wow.
That one has a slightly smaller bore.
Okay.
That's 1934, that cat.
Are these two the same bore?
Same bore and stroke, these are.
So they're very similar
That
engines
is the
then.
piston. Very similar, just the one cylinder of it.
So they made them for that long, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow.
This is one of the last of them, and that was an earlier one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Is that air start? That's air start then? That's pretty cool. Pretty neat. Not every day you see the Caterpillar display. So Gene, how many of these test engines exist? Do you know? Okay. Wow.
That's what I've heard. It could be.
Were these like they escaped the factory even though they weren't supposed to?
This one escaped the dumpster because the guy that used to run it
Yeah.
saved it.
Wow.
They allowed him to save one. 5 of them went in the dumpster.
Wow.
There were 6 of them in the facility.
That's
It
pretty
was
cool.
a Luber's All Oil.
There's a what?
Luber's All Oil facility.
Oh, okay, cool.
They made additives for oil.
Yeah.
That's why we got good oils today.
That's really cool. Little antique sawmill action for you. This was actually built in the 20s as a portable sawmill. What they would do is they would bring the thing in pieces with like horse and buggy and whatnot, maybe some early tractors, and they put the thing together in the woods, and then they would start cutting down all the trees around the sawmill. And then eventually you got to the point where the trees cut down were too big of a radius around the mill. Take the thing apart, hoist it further into the woods, and keep cutting trees down from there. See, they got the log, tied down on the cart there. And there's a ratchet system. You can pull the log forward a certain distance to get the thickness of your beam, and then run it through the blade. That lever he just pulled was the ratchet, by the way. There you go, there's your piece of wood. Alrighty guys, so it's about 6:45 p.m. and I'm 15 minutes late for leaving for my ferry. So, got a truck all loaded up, everything's all strapped down, and about to hit the road. And actually, if you look at it, that truck is actually squatting just a little bit, which is a rare occurrence, but also makes sense with how much weight we got in the back, because bringing a few engines up to mast to either tinker with or bring to shows. I'm gonna fix my Delco up there. Got the Whitty, the Briggs KR4, the FH, and my new friend, which is a recent acquisition. So there will be videos on that in the future, and all the other junk to go with. And it's time to head up to the Orient Point Ferry, take that across, and drive all the way up to Massachusetts, because I gotta take a shower, collapse, get a couple hours of sleep, and go to work tomorrow. But yeah, super fun weekend. Hopefully the video wasn't too choppy. I was trying to get video where I could, but I was running around like a madman all weekend. Gotten much more involved with running the big engines and a couple other things, so I hardly even have time for my own stuff. In fact, I actually ran the Whitty dry today, which was not good, but luckily it seems to have survived, so I gotta kind of calm down a little bit. But either way, hopefully this comes out good, and hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, you know what to do. Hit the little like and subscribe buttons. I'd appreciate that. By all means, leave a comment if you have one, and I'll see you in the next one.